Can somebody remind me when it's 2:40? Just
Yeah,
somebody
I
tell
can
me.
remind you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Whenever you guys are ready. Are we recording now?
Yes, we are recording. I apologize.
Alrighty. Oh, it's okay. Well, thank you and welcome to Baroness 101. Thank you for being here and wanting to hear about the adventures of being a Baroness. My name is Eliette de Salazar and I was a Baroness for 4 years in the barony of the Citadel of the Southern Pass. And geographically that is El Paso, Texas. And that is in the Kingdom of the Outlands. Hence the colors. Okay. Well, given that the baronet is one of the most important, one of the most committed jobs in the SCA, there should be, at least I believe that there should be a minimum training for this position. We're gonna see 3 assumptions, and then we're gonna see what assumptions we have in this class. Normally, people assume that every B&B is going to train their successors. Each baron is different, so why having a general training? And the B&Bs are the eye candy leaders. That's pretty much what everybody told me in the interviews. We're the eye candy leaders. Why receiving training for that? However, in this presentation, we're going to assume the opposite. Local training is not always available. It could be for many reasons. It could be because the former baron and baroness did not train the upcoming baron and baroness, or it could be that the upcoming baron and baroness did not want to be trained. It could be that I know a case, the baron and baroness were having a lot of mundane problems, so they had to leave the barony. So they were not able to train their successors. So there's a lot of things involved. So local training is not always available. Another assumption in this class is that each barony, even though each one has its own idiosyncrasies and traditions, and the essence of service is going to be the same. So there should be a training for the essence of service. And the last assumption would be that the baronet ends up having more duties than just being eye candy, especially in a small barony. When small barony in our kingdom, we were 119 in our highest, but it was between 100 and 110. So we ended up doing a lot. So in this class, we will cover what it is to be a baroness per corpora, what it is to be a baroness per 15 baronesses that I interviewed, and at the end, your questions and comments. So corpora is going to tell us. So if you have any questions, write them down in the chat, and we'll go over them at the end. So corpora is going to tell us that this is the only, what you see here on the screen that's the only place where they're going to talk about the duties of the baroness and the baron and baroness. So they say that it's ceremonial in nature. Yes, we know that. The real boss of the barony will be the seneschal. The baron and baroness are the representatives of the king and queen of the crown. So the second responsibility for the B&Bs is to work with the baronial officers. Remember, they work with the baronial officers. They're not responsible or the bosses of the officers, because that is the seneschal. Although in real life, a lot of the duties rely on the baroness, the baron and the baroness. As a third one is give awards in the name of the king and queen, and the last one is to hold other positions in the society, which I highly recommend. I would highly discourage not to do it, because then you're not going to be able to put all your effort in your barony. The participants in this research were 15 baronesses, 4 sitting, 6 former, 3 founding, and 2 from another kingdom, meaning another kingdom other than the outlands, and the kingdom was Edinburgh. So we have 8 baronies in our kingdom, and I interviewed at least, mostly between 1 and 2 from each barony, and 2 from the kingdom of Edinburgh. These are the ladies that kindly accepted my request. Shoshana from Carrigaline, Umanya from Alberon, Maria from Kerta, Audrey from Arkell, and she's a founding baroness as well. These are the sitting baronesses at the moment. Founding baronesses, we have Monica Bonzel is Baroness Citadel, Baroness Fontaine Mary, and Baroness Kerguelen Jacida. The former baronesses were Alamanda from Fontaine, Slane from Alberon, May from Unserhofen, Elizabeth from Fontaine, Jeanette from Dragonspine, myself from Citadel, and from the Kingdom of Edinburgh, Her Majesty Elizabeth and Mistress Avilla. They were all super helpful. They were willing to have a chat with me. These are the open questions that I asked. What does it take to be a baroness? What were your main challenges? How did you overcome those challenges? What tips would you share with someone that wants to be a baroness? What did you gain after being a baroness? Anything else that you think I should include in the presentation? I wanted this just to cover anything that was not covered in the other questions. So with the first question, what does it take to be a baroness? The most common reply was, guess, patience. That should not be a surprise. Patience, because you have a lot of people and you have a lot of personalities to deal with. And guess what? You need to be able to deal with everybody. I like this one a lot. Love your people, even the ones, and all of what I put here, what you're gonna see here, is all of their answers. They should have quotation marks, but I would have to put quotation marks in everything. I just put verbatim what they said. We're gonna go through the main ones, not all of them. I just wanted to record everyone so that whoever has time and wants to go over them can read them for yourselves. So we were talking about love your people, even the ones that you don't like. You're gonna find a lot of people that you're not gonna be fun of, but you're gonna have to be their baronesses too. Even if you don't like them, you are gonna have to, as this baroness said, work around their awfulness, because there are gonna be people that are not gonna be very nice, but you still have to treat them with love and respect. Put yourself out there, make yourself available, make yourself visible. A lot of people were were saying that they're, before being a baroness, they were not very outspoken. They were kind of shy, and being a baroness make them be out there, make them put themselves out there so that they could serve in a better way. Be a cheerleader, always being very encouraging. You always have to be very encouraging. Be a mom. Sometimes people don't like to be the mom, but you end up being the mom, believe it or not. I even had people calling me mom, and I had to stop them. Like, no, you call me Baroness, call me Ellie, call me Your Excellency, but don't call me mom, please. Be graceful, because you are the representative of the queen, so you have to be graceful. You have to be, this is very important, you have to be willing to invest a lot of money and a lot of time. Not spend a lot of money, but spend money. Some people think that they're not going to spend money, but you end up spending money. It really depends on how far you want to go. So a lot of the events that we had in our barony, when we were baron and baroness, we held them in our house. And I'm Latina, so of course you come to my house, I'm going to feed you. And so little by little you add up, and you have to spend money on the food. Then you have to spend money on traveling, because some baronies do not have the means to help you pay for gas or to help you stay, or so there are ways to save money, but you're gonna end up paying money. And even depending on how committed you are, you're gonna even help your populace. We ended up paying for electricity bills because one of our members of the populace was about to not have electricity, and so we said, okay, we'll pay for that. We'll help you pay for that. So you spend money on things that you were not even counting on. And you have to be willing to spend a lot of time. Being a baroness is a 24/7 job if you want to do it. Okay, this is just a matter of, this is my opinion, okay? And this is the opinion of the 15 people that I interviewed. So if you want to do it well, if you want to do it right, you need to spend money. It's not like my office hours end up here. That's great if you have a big support group where people can look for help somewhere else. But if you don't have a big barony, and if you don't have a big support group, then you end up being 24/7. Once we spent an entire weekend looking for a dog because one of the members of our barony lost their dog, and it was a very important dog for that person. So we spent the entire weekend looking for the dog. Another time we didn't go to bed until 3 o'clock in the morning because one of the members had announced that he wanted to commit suicide. I don't know if announced would be the word, but he was threatening to commit suicide. So somebody else went to look for him, and they had to travel far. So we had to wait for that person to be able to get to him and tell us if he was okay or not. And then we called the measures were taken to have him safe. So we went to bed until everything was gone and everything was fine. So you have to spend a lot of time, even though for instance in our barony, in our kingdom, we're only required to go to local events and coronations. You end up going to more than that. You end up having a lot more things to do, and you end up going to meetings and replying emails and doing a lot of other things. So it's going to be a 24/7. Again, there are baronesses that don't do it like that. There are people that have office hours, that have their availability is more limited, but that's not how we did it, and that's not how the people in that I interviewed did it. You have to have a service mindset, and you have to be willing to work hard. Then you have to be nice, you have to be kind, approachable. This is all the qualifications that the Baronesses told me. You have to be a good listener, because people are going to come and tell you your problems. A lot of people are going to come, and you're going to become the nurse, the financial consultant, the sex advisor, the psychologist, the friend, the mom. And so if you don't have a problem being all that, that's perfect. You have to be very organized. For instance, you have to oversee. It's like being the head of a small company. That's how I see it. Like a family company, like a family business. You have to be able to oversee, okay, you're not doing it. Maybe if in a small barony you end up doing a lot, but if you're in a bigger barony and you have more people, then you have to be willing to be like seeing, okay, this is running well, this is running well. You can't say, oh, it's not my responsibility, because you're the head. So you have to be understanding. I like this one a lot. Able not to make the populace unhappy. You have to understand that you're not always going to make people happy. Not Some people are not going to be happy, period, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be willing to travel, and you have to understand. Oh, this one is very important. You have to learn to improvise. So this Baroness, for instance, was telling me that she went to an event and she had just stepped up, and somebody told her when she got to the event, "Oh, I'm glad that you came. So where are the goodies for the list table?" She was like, "Oh, goodies? Oh, okay." Well, apparently it was customary that all the baronesses, the baroness from that barony, would take goodies for the list table for that event in particular. Nobody told her, so she didn't have any goodies. So she said, "No problem, I'll go get them." And she rode to the nearest store, got the goodies, came back, found a way to put them in a nice, presentable way, and but so you have to be able to learn to improvise and do it fast. You have to develop mediation skills, because a lot of people are going to be like, a lot of times they're going to be like, A did this to me and B did this to me, and so you have to be able to make them be friends again, or at least put some peace between all the members. Have SCA experience. This is one of the things that, experience in leading positions within the SCA. Some of the baronesses told me that would be the ideal thing. However, when I became a baroness, I was not in any way. I was pretty new in the society. I had only been in the society. I had only been in the country for less than a year, and in the society for less than a year. So, but I already had experience in a nonprofit organization, and I had already experience in leading positions. So that's where I was able to draw my experience from. So yes, having experience in the SCA, having experience in a leading position in the SCA are super helpful. And also, it also helped that my husband had been playing for over 20 some, almost 30 years. So there's got to be somebody, at least somebody in the group that would be able to fill in those ACA gaps, like ACA experience. You have to look good, sound good, and you have to be strong enough to have conversations at different levels. You have to have conversations with newcomers just the same way that you're going to have conversations with the crown. So question number 2, and question number 3, let's see. Sometimes they give me the answer to how to overcome those challenges, so sometimes they didn't. So the most common challenges, the first thing that they said is every barony has challenges. And we know that. Every group, every even if it's a small group, there's always going to be challenges. The most important challenge that they mentioned was not many people helped. Having people to help. How do you get people to help? So that had a lot of answers. There's not like one answer to this, because each barony is different. So you kind of have to learn how the barony would react better, and then start implementing solutions for that, because that is a very common challenge in all of the baronies, and I assume that it's going to be even more now when we come back to the real to the normal, the new normal, having people play and having people help. Admitting, and the second most common one of the challenges was admitting that you can't make everybody happy all the time. Having challenging personalities. Every group has a problem child. So the way people try to mitigate that was how finding the person that is the problem child and trying to see what makes that person happy, to see if you can please them a little bit, just a little bit, and see if that helps. And the person that was saying this was saying that give them extra reinforcement, because a lot of these people that are very problematic, they need a lot of reinforcement, they need a lot of attention. So try to become the peacemaker and try to pay more attention to that person. Money, that is a challenge, definitely. How do you do that? Ask for more help. Some members would help, some members would not. Like, if you ask nicely, you can get help. Getting award recommendations. This is very interesting, because Her Majesty Elizabeth was telling me that as a Baroness, she had like just a handful of recommendations. While being a queen, she gets a lot more recommendations. So getting people to recommend for awards to baronesses and to baron and baronesses is more difficult to get. Something very important too is to let people know, to let people do things for you. That was very uncomfortable for me, because and I see this pattern with all the baron and baronesses. Most of them is because they're already service oriented. So if you're putting yourself in that position, it's because you're willing to serve and help, if you're doing it for the right reasons. So having somebody helping all the time to you and hold the umbrella and hold your cup, and that is very uncomfortable if if you are the one always doing it. So you have to kind of learn okay, this is their role now. My role is not to hold the umbrella and hold my stuff. My role is to let that person shine. So you need to learn to do that. Live up to people's expectations. People assume that you put a coronet and you become this leader that has been born to be a baron, a baroness. Well, no, because there's not even training. You're not even supposed to know. You don't even know what to do sometimes. And even if you've been playing for a long time, you don't know how it is to be a baroness until you are a baroness. Um, this one, being what I said before, being able to improvise. There's always stuff 5 minutes before you did not know about. Things are always going to show up like this, and you have to be able to learn to get them on the fly and okay, roll with it and try to find solutions really fast. Being physically ill. How are you to know? You're never going to know if you're going to be ill. Well, then at least this baroness found she had a back surgery, so she couldn't travel for a long time. So the way that she tried to compensate that was to do a lot of the backstage things. So always try to find another way to help. Clicks was another challenge. That was a challenge for us here in Citadel. Um, and the way we try to overcome it was to be very inclusive. We try to include everybody in everything. Like we had anybody was welcome to the officers meetings. Everybody was encouraged and welcome to absolutely everything, and everybody was equally important to avoid those clicks. So it really didn't matter if you had a shiny head or if you were just new. We try to treat everybody equally so that there were no clicks. Um, being a smaller or younger barony, that is a challenge because then the kingdom tends not to be as attentive to you and to your barony. So a way to try to compensate that or overcome that is to travel more so that people would see, oh, this barony is there, okay, and go travel to different events so that people would uh, would travel to your events. So put the barony in on the map. What tips would you share with someone that wants to be a baroness? Help others. You're going to mute yourself for the time that you're going to be a baron and baroness because you're there for them, not for you. If you're gonna be a baroness, and a lot of them mentioned it. If you're gonna be a baroness just to shine, once you step down, you become some just what is that they call it? White trash, landless. Yeah. Well, in my case, it will be brown. But once you step down, you just become a normal person, one of us. So if you're gonna do it just for the shiny, that's gonna fade away fast. So if you're gonna be a baroness, do it for the service. Do it because you want to help others.
Your Excellency, you've hit your 40-minute mark.
Thank you. So I'm going to start wrapping up here, and I still have like 5 more minutes, and then we can open up to questions. Look good. That's very important. Believe it or not, try to look good. You don't have to spend a lot of money on your garb or anything. Just whatever you do, try to look good. It doesn't have to be ostentatious, but it should be nice because you're representing the crown. Have good manners. Make sure you're financially and emotionally in a place to take the job, because it's going to be hard and taxing. And if you're being a baroness with somebody that is not a partner, your emotional partner, then be very, very sure that you're going to have good communication with him or with her. This is super important. Do not change who you are. They don't want to fake you. What we were talking about at the very beginning about the polling, they polled for you. So they don't want to fake you. Just be yourself and know your limits. And again, do it for the right reasons. And keep notes. This has helped me a lot. My memory is horrible, so at least I have to write everything down. I have to put everything in the calendar. So and so. I see a name, Kita. Kita tells me, "Oh, I have a surgery next Monday," so I want her to know that I care about her. So I'm going to write on my calendar, Kita's surgery, so that when the day comes, I'm going to send her a message. Good luck on your surgery. Or how did the surgery go? If you have 100 people, you're never going to remember everybody. But so you have to keep notes, write down what you need to remember. And have fun. Make it fun. Because if people see that you're having fun, it's contagious, and they're going to make it. They want to be having fun as well. And one of the ladies said, like Kennedy said, don't ask what your barony can do for you. Ask what you can do for your barony, which is totally fitting for this position. Learn to say no. People are going to ask a lot of things from you. What did you gain after being a baroness? Friendship. Getting to know more people. Respect on how things work at the end. Self-confidence and growth. I learned a lot of self-confidence and a lot of growth. I think that I am a better person now because I was a baroness for 4 years. And and everybody said that. You grow when you are a baroness or a baron. Be more understanding. And somebody said space, they learn space, because a lot of the things from the barony end up in your house. And these things are, this first page is probably the only one that I'm going to read of this question. It is the most fulfilling, hardest job in the society. So even though it's a hard job, it's very fulfilling. And this is pretty much the same, that it's a 24/7 job. So to sum up, I learned that even though we're talking about the kingdom of the outlands from one extreme to the other is about 18 hours. So there's a lot of differences, a lot of people, and pretty much the questions were very similar. The answers were very similar. We all are here for the service if you're doing it right, and you need a lot of love and a lot of patience, but no matter how much you give, you're going to get a lot more than what you give. And it is totally worth it to do it. Because even though it's a very hard job, it is very rewarding. Questions?
You had a couple in the chat from Caesar. I believe he was the one who asked most of the questions. A lot of them got answered. I believe his first one was asking about awards and if you can create them.
You can create awards, yes. As a Baron and Baroness, we actually created 4 awards.
Isabel has raised her hand.
And but you always, whatever you do, you always have to ask permission from the crown. Like when we stepped up, there were no awards for people that had served individually the Baron and individually the Baroness. So we created those awards.
Right. Isabel has raised her hand. Would you like to hear from her?
Sure.
Go ahead and unmute.
Hi there. I'm serving as retinue for a Baroness, and my question was, what are some of the most helpful things retinue can do for Baroness? What are the things that you thought were most helpful for you?
Oh, excellent question. See ahead. I had the most wonderful lady in waiting, head lady in waiting. She would see ahead even before me. She was like, okay, it's 3 o'clock. Court is at 5. She's still going around and being a social butterfly. I'm just gonna go get everything ready before court because I know she's not gonna make it on time. Guess what? I didn't make it on time, so I was supposed to go to my tent before and get my stuff to go to court, and she would always have it ready for me. Always see ahead. Be a shoulder when the Baroness needs it, because she's gonna need it. She needs. If she's doing it right, she's gonna have this face that everything is always right, that everything is always smiles. But sometimes she's gonna want to not be there, or even if you're tired, even if you're mad, you have to. When I stepped up, I didn't know anything about being a Baroness, because as I said before, I had only been in the country for less than a year, and less than a year in the society. So we were going to this to Estrella. I don't know if you're familiar with Estrella. It's one of the biggest events. It's held in Arizona. So I made I put myself in the position to go and find every single Baroness I could. And then when I stepped up, I held Baroness's tea. So over there they told me, whatever you feel, however you are, always put a happy face. So no matter how tired the Baroness is, she is always going to need somebody to rely on, because she's probably not going to show that she's mad or she's tired. So as retinue, that is, you are an incredible part of the success, because if you do it well, she's going to do it well. So always see ahead.
Caesar's other question was, how long do you normally serve as a baron or baroness? And many of the other people replied that it varies. So how about your experience?
Service as a baroness?
How long did you serve?
Oh, I served 4 years, but it really depends on the barony, on the kingdom. In our kingdom, it's 2 years, and then at least 2 years, and then you serve as much as you can. In our case, we serve 4 years, and I believe Aidenbell it's 3 years minimum, and then you can extend it 2 more years so you will be 5. But I've heard of people that have done it for 20 some years. I don't know how because
The founding Baron of Calafia served for over 20 years, but
exactly.
he had 2 baronesses.
Oh, okay. Yes. So it is. It really depends on the place, and it really depends on how involved you do it. Because if you put a lot of effort, then a lot of years, it's very taxing. But if you are a baron and baroness that are not very involved, then I guess that you can do it for longer.
Kira has raised her hand. Would you like her to speak?
Of course.
When you were Baroness, was there anything that you would have done differently if you could go back and redo it?
Oh, many things. Many things. One time I was very tired. I was working a lot, and this person was doing something that really bugged me. And I heard a lot about the person. He's a dear friend, but we were trying really hard to fight the cliques, and this person was saying, no, this other person cannot come to the meetings. And I'm like, no way. That person has as much right to come as you. So we got into a very heated conversation, and I lost it. And I regret losing it. What I should have done was to say, okay, I'm very tired right now. I can't have this conversation right now. This conversation is very important for me, so I don't really want to overstep or be rude to you, but I have to stop this conversation right now, and I can pick it up whenever I feel better. So I regret losing my cool, and if you know me, that's not very easy because I'm always yay. So, but there are moments that you're gonna lose your cool, or that you are wishing to be able to lose your cool, but you can't. So that's one of the moments that I would go back and do it differently. And always be graceful, and say, because later I just apologized and I told him, I'm sorry, I lost my cool. I sincerely apologize, and just be humble and say, I'm human. I'm playing a part, and I could not fulfill the part at the moment. So any other questions? Nope. Well, just remember that look for training, look for somebody to help you. Even if you think that you've been playing for the longest time in the SCA, this position is unique. It's very different than anything else. We met one person that was like, oh no, I've served in this and that, I don't need help, and guess what? That person ended up needing help because it's a leading position, and you're always going to need help in a leading position.
Everybody needs help sometimes.
Everybody, and you don't know it all. You don't know it all. So being willing to learn from others is a key here too. And I'm very grateful for the ladies that accepted that to have these conversations with me, and hopefully kingdoms understand that key positions like this need to be trained, need training. At least a pamphlet, anything, just what to do. Like, I believe in manuals. So,
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. You have several thank yous in the chat, just so you know.
thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
I'm going to stop recording now.
Sure.